So I am up and ready to go today, and I'm actually in shorts this time, which is good because it's just as hot as yesterday, so it's probably a good call. But yeah, last night was fun. I met two Germans. They're a brother and sister who are here for a bit. So we had some drinks and went out together. We also had one of our American friends we met here come out with us, so it was pretty fun. And so now I'm just walking around. I'm going to one of the parts of remaining Berlin Wall. So when I get there, I'll turn it back on. So yeah, peace. So there's a quick picture of the west and east. There's two huge walls separating them. So if you look over here, that's part of the outer wall. So there's wall, and those poles represent where the rest of the wall used to be. And so that's concrete, and it's reinforced with like the steel poles, and it's got that cylinder stuff on top, and like it's intense. They did, and then this would be, you can see over there, this is the part of the second wall, and all this stuff in here that's in the middle, that's a no man's land. So they would have sand, they had guard towers, they had automatic firing guns, they had dogs, they had like tons of stuff to stop people from getting across the walls. And they even, like, if you can see that, I don't know, it's very sunny, but they show, these are guards testing the designs of the wall. So they did like extensive testing to make sure no one could get through this wall. And some people did. There's stories of people like using like hot air balloons or trying to tunnel under and building tunnel networks and stuff like that. But very few people got through. Lots died. And right over there, that wall, I'll walk to it. It shows all the face, or most of the faces, but it has all the names of all the people who died trying to get across the Berlin Wall. And so it's pretty interesting. But if you don't know why the Berlin Wall was set up, so I said earlier that like Germany was split into 4 parts, and then the British, the US, and France formed West Germany, and then East Germany was the Russian part. So they had like a communist / kind of dictatorship part, and the people did not agree with it at all. So like thousands and thousands of people were leaving East Germany to go to the West, and so they set up this wall so they would stop leaving, and they would have people to rule and lead. So like these are the pictures and stuff of all the people. And some are really young, like some are 13 years old trying to get across the wall and didn't make it. It's pretty disturbing and sad. But yeah, so the wall was set up, and it's pretty crazy how fast the wall, well, not the wall, but the perimeter was set up. Because if you're building a wall to keep your people in that want to leave, obviously you can't take your time and like pick in some pegs and set up the stones. You have to do it fast. So what they did was they got a bunch of barbed wire and just tossed it around the ground on their side, on the eastern like land, so that the West couldn't do anything. And they just set it up all around the perimeter and put guards everywhere. So it was just barbed wire on the ground and guards. And then they started building the wall, and it took them 57 hours to get all the, like the whole perimeter of Eastern Berlin set up with barbed wire. So it was super fast, so almost no one could get out. Unless you got out within the first 2 days as they were setting up, which would still be hard to do while they're setting up. You're pretty much stuck there. And then they had huge like setups where there's like, it's just crazy. Like, how would you get past guard towers, sand, attack dogs? Like, just, it would be so intimidating. And this is just some of the remnants of the wall, parts of the wall that they took down. But yeah, it's just like insane to think about. And like, as I said yesterday, this wall came down in 1989. You think of World War II and you think, okay, maybe Berlin Wall and stuff, but you think like maybe 1945, 1960 area. You don't think this stuff was happening like 10, 20 years ago. It's just insane to think about. But yeah, that's my take for this part. And I am going to be going to check out some other sites. I'm thinking we're going to the Museum Island and just to check out some sites. So the first part I might not film because I'll just be walking around some stuff I've already seen, just getting pictures this time. And then I'll turn it back on when I get to something interesting or cool. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. Peace. Okay, so I was here in this area yesterday, That's the opera. That's a Catholic church. And over here is Humboldt University. And so our tour guide was here, and he was telling us about the history here, and it's pretty interesting. So this Catholic church was built to kind of show that the German people had acceptance, because during its time the people here were mainly Protestant, and so when they were taking over nations, they wanted to show that they were, this isn't during World War II, by the way, this is like older history, but they wanted to show that they had acceptance and tolerance for other people, so they built the Catholics this church. And then one of the rulers really enjoyed the opera, and he thought, why should only like the rich or the privileged get to see it? It's something that everyone should get to see. So he started subsidizing all the tickets for the opera, so that like anyone who really wanted to could go and watch opera if they want. And finally over here is, as I mentioned, is Humboldt University. And it's a pretty famous university. A lot of great thinkers have been there. Albert Einstein taught there for 20 years, I think. And so he left during the 30s, just before Hitler, or as Hitler was rising to power. Good call. But the square is mainly interesting because here it's all symbol or like a symbolic thing for tolerance and like equality. This is enlightenment, and on this square right here, in the middle of all of them, is where Hitler organized the burning of 20,000 books. So if you're a Jewish author, if you said anything negative about Germans, just anything along those lines, your book was blacklisted. And they had a big event here where they burnt all the books. So there was over 20,000 books. Right over there, for all those people, there's a window, because there's a symbol. You won't be able to see it on camera, so I'm not even going to walk over there. But there's a glass window on the ground, and it just shows a bunch of empty bookshelves, which kind of represents like all the books that were taken away. It's not like an actual thing, but it was just put on display there for it could be symbolic. But yeah, so all the books were burnt here, and obviously like people, Hitler knew what he was doing. He made it like a big event, like instead of like grim, this is a book burning. He's like, this is for the better of Germany, and had like beer being sold and like ice cream and stuff. And the tour guide said like he's had some people who are actually here, who are really old now, but during that time, and when they were kids, and no one was like upset. Like people were, it was like an event. So it's pretty interesting, and no one imagined like that it would lead to like obviously what happened in World War II. I was about to tell you about this, but this guy I think is about to.
I was going to talk to you about the same thing. Okay. We'll see the other part of the memorial in a second, I hope, if those people move on. This is the other part of that memorial. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side here, it just basically tells you everything that I just did. On this square, they burnt books. On the left-hand side there, we have a quote from a German author. His name was Heinrich Heine. Roughly translated, the quote goes a bit like this. That was just the beginning. Where you begin by burning books, in the end, you will burn people. Now, Heinrich Heine was an extremely insightful man, not least because he is not writing about Nazi book burning that takes place here. Okay? He's not even writing in the same century. He's writing in 1820, over 100 years before the Nazis come to power. But still, his words were prophetic. They can be directly translated to what happened here on that day. He started by burning books.
So yeah, that guy said it probably better than I was going to in a short time. So essentially that author had a pretty prophetic statement about what happens when you burn books. So yeah, right now I'm going to be walking down towards the Brandenburg Gate. So I'll probably film on my way there, and I'll see you there. But I just wanted to show you this place because it's pretty interesting. But yeah, talk to you later. Peace. Okay, so I'm finally back at Brandenburg Gate because I wanted to tell a quick story about the square, this statue, and this hotel. So I'll start with the hotel. Guess which hotel this is? I'll give you a hint. It has to do, the significance of it has to do with that balcony right there. Still don't get it? Why don't we throw in Michael Jackson? probably get it now, right? So that's over there is where the building where Michael Jackson dangled his child out the window. So I just thought that was funny. But anyways, this is the square, or this is a big square in front of Brandenburg Gate, and it used to be called the Square. A very pragmatic German name. It's a square, so we'll call it the Square. But anyways, up on top here is a big statue, and in its hand you can see it's a woman, and she used to be holding an olive branch for peace, and now she's not, and that is because when when Napoleon was going on his crusade, he came in and took over Germany, and then he stole this statue and sent it back. So the Germans weren't very happy about that, and they eventually got it back. So they put it on top again, and instead put a staff with a big cross. You can see the cross kind of, and that's a cross for victory. So it's showing like they're victorious. And she used to look straight down the square because this used to lead to a royal palace down this road. But now she kind of tilts her head to the right. I don't know if you can see it at all, but you can see her head's tilted. And by coincidence, it's looking at the French embassy. Now, that's probably not on purpose, but it's just kind of a funny coincidence. But the Germans, the funniest thing the Germans did, after defeating, they made the staff with they made the victory staff in her hand, but they also, this used to be called the Square. Now it is called Pariser Platz, which means Paris Square. So, who says the Germans don't have a sense of humor? That's so funny to me, they call it Paris Square. But anyways, I am walking to, I'm gonna show you real quick, but I'm walking to the German parliament buildings. And I actually just had some bratwurst and bockwurst, which I don't really know the difference. Bratwurst was they're both kind of sausages, I think. But the bratwurst was a longer, thinner one, and then the bockwurst was like a short, stout one. So that just sounds funny to me when I say that. But right now I'm going to be going to the parliament, which is right there. So I'm going to be checking that and getting some pictures. Then I'll be walking back to the Jewish Memorial, because there's like a cool information and stuff down there. So if it's really cool, I'll film it. If not, you've already seen it, so I won't. And then I'm going to go down the street, and there's a statue down there. So I'll just film when I find something cool. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. So, if you don't know what that was, that is a traveling bar. That's a wedding parade going down. But that's a traveling bar that you bike. They have a bartender. So you just sit there and pedal, and it goes around the city and you just drink. What a German idea. But yeah, this is the German parliament. It's pretty nice. So yeah, I mainly wanted to show you the bike, but now you get to see the parliament as well. So yeah. That was it, pretty much. Peace. So I am going below to a place called the Information Center. It's below the Jewish Memorial, you know those stones? To check it out. It's got tons of information on the Holocaust. So I have to go through security first, but then I'll show you that.
In 1920, their daughter Ilona was born. In August 1940, Cluj-Napoca returned to Hungarian control. Hungary's anti-Jewish laws were then applied. In March 1944, the German army turned on its former ally and occupied the area. 2 months later, Rosie Farkas was sent to a ghetto, and from there deported to the extermination camp Auschwitz. She did not return. Rosie Farkas was 52 years old.
Yeah, so that was depressing. I didn't film much there or take pictures because it's just like awkward. Like people were, but it felt awkward. So I did a little bit, but not too much. The one part I did film with showing that letter was from a 12-year-old boy. So he was like scared because apparently they were throwing children alive into the pits or something of all the dead bodies. Which sounded, so I'd imagine being 12 and like thinking about that. And then the numbers around the room were all the estimated number of Jewish people killed in the different countries. So Poland had a lot because of Auschwitz. There's surprisingly a high amount in Russia, but that was because that part was probably occupied. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's a cool thing. If you come here, you should definitely come check it out. It's right near the end of this monument, right below. Underneath, you go down some stairs. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm off to explore a bit more, and then I'm going back. It's getting late, even though it's really sunny. But yeah, I'll see you at the next thing. Peace. Okay, this is just something I thought I would film. So Siga is like double bricks going all the way. It goes through the street. It goes this way. It goes through the lawn all the way down. That kind of represents and shows where the Berlin Wall used to be, because like the majority of it's down. So I just thought I'd film that and show that like it actually, if you're walking through the city every so often, you'll see where the perimeters were. It's kind of cool. So yeah, just thought I'd show that. So we're at the East Side Gallery, one part of the Berlin Wall, and as you can see, it is a bit more decorative, which I guess is why they call it the East Side Gallery. I don't know actually why they do, but that would be my guess, because obviously this wall does not look as depressing. It's pretty cool actually. And there was something going on back over there. There's like a bunch of people playing basketball and skateboarding. It was pretty cool looking. But there's like security guards and get in and stuff, and I wasn't gonna figure out what it was. So, but this is East Side Gallery. Yeah. And it's pretty cool actually. The art, I mean, not the concept. Oh my gosh, it goes very, very far. So I will not film this whole way, because it actually goes all the way down there. I don't think you can even see, but it goes all the way down there. So yeah, I'm just I'll walk it probably. And I'll take some pictures of some of the artwork as I go. But yeah, so that was it, and that's probably all I'll do for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna probably go to the Sachsenhausen. I think that's how you say it. Concentration camp. And then I'll maybe go visit the palace as well. So yeah. So I think this would be the space in this area between the two walls. I think that's the second wall and that's the first one. I also mentioned that it was pretty cool that one of the walls would have a sensor on it, so then when someone touched it, it would alert the guards in the guard tower, and they would know someone was on the wall. So they just had it like set up so bad that like it was impossible. And like, look how high. Well, okay, it's harder in the sun. I'll go this way. Look how high these walls are. Like ridiculously high. I don't know if you can see me. That's my hand to the wall. So there's no way I can do this by myself. So you at least would need two of me to get up there. And then it has that round thing on top, which is supposed to be hard to grab. And then once you get over this, you're still essentially in the doghouse. And that's not a pun, because there might be dogs down here. They had sand. They would put sand here, by the way, as well. I don't know if I mentioned that, so it would be harder to try to run through. Like, just insane what they did to try. And it's like, if you need this much security to keep your people into your country, I think you're doing something wrong. Like, I don't know. The world's funny. But I was very like impressed by this part of the wall. If you only could come to one part, you should go to all. Oh no, actually, that's a lie, because one of the parts of the wall is that topography of terrace, and that's really cool too. Go to all three parts; they're really cool. But the East Side Gallery is really cool just for the art. It has a lot of like inspirational paintings and messages on it and stuff, and some are pretty well done, so that's cool. Oh, it's gated in on this side. I'm gonna have to walk back around this wall. But yeah, so I'm heading back now, and I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. So talk to you later. Peace.